You're listening to the Bon Ray Show. It's 8 in the evening. Tune in every night at 8 to listen to the Bon Ray Show on Irish News Radio or itv.ie. And you can contact anything that you've heard or if anything you'd like to discuss at news@irishnews. The Bon Ray Show on itv.ie and Irish News Radio. Today, Thursday, so we'll be talking about the EU and what was our independence, which no longer exists. We have no sovereignty, no independence, and an Ireland in name only, which there's even talk about our name being taken away. They have a new name for it. Quite a scary within a population. Our country, our heritage, our culture has been destroyed. It may have been in planning for a while, but this generation was brainwashed and destroyed from the Lisbon Treaty to now. Absolutely shocking. Complete destruction of the Irish culture and our ways. And the Irish government, puppets to the EU, say they will impose checks on goods crossing Northern Ireland border. So the Irish government are putting in scare tactics to try and get the British to vote again or try and bully them into a vote again. And they will put it in by putting the EU army. And you can see that this is going to happen. The EU army, the Irish government is pushing for the so-called people's vote. Now, a people's vote, who do you think voted the last time? Was it not people who voted? What a ridiculous name, the people's vote. The people voted the last time. That was the people's vote. It was a once-in-a-lifetime vote, which is what David Cameron told the British people. Not that they would ever, he promised them, not that they will ever have to do it, because he saw the state, absolutely the state of Ireland and other countries being made vote again. He promised the British people that they wouldn't be like that. That this vote was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and it was one person, one vote. And this was their time to make a change for Britain. Whichever way they would go, it would be respected. But like our vote, the Irish want to force on the British to re-vote because it wasn't the vote that the Irish government liked. The Irish government have no right to impose such views on the British government or the British people. And it was the British people who voted this, and it was something they were promised by the British government that they would get, and it wouldn't be like other countries. They would show democracy around the world. In whatever way they voted, it would be respected. But not by the Irish government, like the Irish voice. So the Irish government, Simon Covey, who is actually Bilderberg, and Leo, have decided to threaten the Irish living in Britain and the British living in Ireland, that after a no vote, their job security and the places where they're living will be at risk. What a load of bullshit, lying through his evil teeth. The Irish government are disgusting. Freedom of people was from 1922, and that is to do with because we were part of Britain, that in 1922 was signed that freedom of movement between Ireland and the UK would remain. It was nothing to do with the EU or the EEC. As I've said before, the border was put up in 1969, not in 1922 when we were separated. 1969. And there was no passports or goods checked. It was purely bombs they were looking for. And it was the British Army, big for security. It had nothing to do with free flow of movement. So it's absolutely lies, and lies again the Irish government are telling. And unfortunately, most Irish people are not working out the facts or the dots themselves. They're listening to the bullshit media and the bullshit government that are fake. They're anti-Irish government. They're ill-be. You can't impose that on the Irish or the British because it was signed in 1922, unless they break that agreement with the British also. But that has nothing to do with the EU. They're such puppets, lying puppets. Theresa May deal was rejected by the House of Commons on Tuesday night, so the Irish government are freaking out, and that's why they're threatening everybody. The reason why it was voted down, but anybody would have told you it was going to be voted down, because it's a breach of British sovereignty, and it traps the UK into a customs union that it would not be able to leave. Like, anybody could have told her that that wasn't going through, or if there was something very wrong, like our government, to put a deal like that through. They voted to leave, not half leave or maybe leave at some stage later. They voted to leave 2.5 years ago, not to leave in 2.5 years later, or have a border, or to leave some of their what they see as their country in the EU. They voted to leave the whole country out, and that is the whole union out. And that includes Northern Ireland, whether the Irish like it or not. But what difference does it make? We're in a union with the EU. What we should be doing is leaving with the British, but not becoming a thorn in the side like our government is doing. And I tell you, the British will go, you know what, Ireland, you want to put a border up? Go ahead. We're not paying for it. You put your border up with your EU money. And you do that. You go and get the money off the EU and see if they'll give it to you. And they probably will, because they want to put this thorn in the British side. So the border will go up, but it's to do with the Irish government. And you know what will happen then? The British will stop trading with us. And you know what will happen then? We will become bust. We will anyway. But we will absolutely break our country. The last recession will be nothing but a blip. This one will be a complete breakdown. And because of the amount of migrants, who majority of them aren't even working, are just here on social benefits, their social benefit seekers are here claiming all sorts of things. And the Irish workers who are working to the bone to pay every single taxes, and there's been more taxes pushed on them, will leave the country to somewhere like either the UK, they will leave and take up there, or they will leave to America if they can get in, Australia again, or Eastern Europe, as Eastern Europe is looking like a safe bet for a lot of Irish people to move. So they'll move there. Iceland, these are places where Iceland could become a new place because it's still near to Ireland, in Europe, without being in the EU. So this is what's going to happen. The Irish will have to leave this island, which is probably what the government wants. But it'll be an island left of immigrants who don't work, who are social benefits. And there's nobody here left working to actually pay these people. And when they do go to work, most of them don't show up for full hours, complain all the time. They have no loyalties to Ireland. And when they don't get these benefits anymore, they have no loyalties to Ireland. They will leave with the house that they have saved up in their own home country and go back to it. And all you have is a very broken island. And probably becoming very Islamic as well within a short time, because Saudi will be able to buy it up because it'll be so broke, and England will have had enough. The UK will have enough of bailing Ireland out and it being an absolutely thorn in the British side. Treacherous thorn. It's actually quite shocking how our government is acting, and it's not in the Irish best interest. The Irish best interest is to leave with the British and to keep our trade deals going, not to act like we're not sovereign or not independent, or Britain hasn't got the right to be sovereign. or independent. We, whether we like it or not, are historically linked, culturally linked, and for trading are linked with the United Kingdom. They are leaving, whether Ireland likes it or not. And the more of a thorn the Irish are, the Irish government are, the less likely the British will have anything to do with us. The wall will go up and the British will not trade, and we will pay for the price of that. That is what's heading for us. The British will leave on the 29th of March and it will be without a deal. And that is what's going to happen. And they will stop trading with the Irish because of the traitorous, horrible government that keeps putting a thorn in it. And they will have nothing to do with the EU afterwards because they have burnt their bridges now. The British will not enter into any deals with the EU. It'll take them a long time to lick their wounds. The British will pay for the price of freedom rather than sell themselves to slavery like the Irish. That is not what they're going to do. But the Irish will pay for their price of being in this treacherous government. The British will stop trading with us. So we're on a very scary heading. The only good thing is a lot of the migrants will leave because this country is going to go bust fairly soon. Instead of having a real government who would leave with the British, and we only joined to trade with them, leave with the British to secure job security and trade. And we are linked. There is no getting away from that. We're not linked with any other European country. We have no links to any of them. And they're not our allies. They have no ties to us. Because of our history, England has ties to us. Britain has ties. The rest of them have no ties. And they will let us sink and watch us all drown. Labour is in turmoil, and they must elect a new leader. It's lost its deal by 230. EU officials are now calling for a second referendum. EU officials have no right to interfere in British politics. They are not elected. They have nothing to do with United Kingdom. They should get off their high horse and know where they are. England, United Kingdom, is an independent sovereign country. Nobody has the right to interfere in their government or into their country. It's absolutely shocking that they think that they have the right to interfere. And that won't go down well with the British people, whether they voted in or to leave, to stay or to leave. That will not go down. A foreign power interfering with their elections. That is not democracy. And that is something the British cannot stand. Is absolutely when their democracy or their voice is not being heard. An outside power trying to influence the British people is disgusting. And it'll go the same way as when Obama went to the UK to try and force them to vote to stay. And I actually think that helped the Brexit case, because you push the British into telling them what to think or how to think it, you'll get a sharp kick in the arse. And that is what's happening. And that's what will happen to the EU. You will see that they will have nothing to do with the EU. It's absolutely a disgrace that the foreign power should actually think that they have any right to tell the British what to do. They're doing anything to stop this Brexit, but it will go ahead. And it'll go ahead with no deal. And the more people push it, the more that it'll have less to do with any of them after it. And as I explained, since 1922, the Ireland and the United Kingdom have freedom of movement. Nothing to do with the EU or the EEC. So Simon Covey and his lying bullshit should read a book, and you all should read a book. Don't listen to the Irish government. They are lying, barefaced lies to you. There is nothing that can happen to the Irish living in England or the English living in Ireland. That freedom movement was signed by the British. Unless the Irish government want to go over and make another signing and saying that they don't want free movement, to really be spiteful, to cut their nose off to save their face. But that's all they'd be doing. But free movement is guaranteed for both. And it would be the Irish government who would be ending that, not the British government. The Yellow Vest movement was shut down before it even really got legs. Now, hopefully, it'll grow legs, because the organizer Ben Gilroy was put into prison for 3 months. Absolutely shocking, disgraceful. It's fascism. This country is a fascist state. How unbelievable. The poor man, for standing up for people who've been evicted out of their home, gets 3 months. Absolutely shocking, disgraceful, disgusting fascism state this country is in. We have a disaster of a government. They're all criminals, and they should be all locked up in prison or even shot against the wall. They are criminals, traitors, hung for high treason. Absolutely disgraceful. Cannot believe that he was locked up. And hopefully, you know what? I hope the Irish grow a brain and grow some feckin' strength and see that an innocent man was given 3 months for protecting other people, and get out in harder and larger numbers, because Not My Taoiseach was a complete failing. Absolutely failing. All the people on saying, yeah, I will go. Now, I actually didn't go, and I said I would be, and I'm saying that as well, but I thought there would be hundreds and thousands. I couldn't go because I was moving stuff, but I will definitely go to the next one. But it's shocking. Like, there should have been hundreds and thousands of people. A few hundred at least should have gone. That man is horrific. Like, I don't know whether you just don't love your country enough or you don't care enough, but, you know, where are you? Standing up, all the people that said they'd go and nobody went. It's absolutely shock. It's a disgrace. And as Europe is running into more of a state, Paris and France is in civil war. They've had to put on the Eiffel Tower a terror fence. A terror fence. Now, who do you think this terror fence is against? It's not. Is it against Christians? Maybe the Jews? Maybe Buddhists? Jehovah's Witnesses? No. It's the only religion that's called peace. Peaceful religion. But there's no peace anyone ever sees when it enters anywhere. A terror. They have Islamic areas now in Paris where women can't walk down the street, or they're terrorized. They are living in fear. France is an Islamic state. He has lowered the age of sex to 8 years of age, where a child will have to prove 8 years of age that she was raped. Absolutely disgusting. Scary, scary times. Anyway, thank you for listening on the Bonnery Show. If you want to talk about anything, if you want anything discussed, get in contact and let's bring it up and let's talk about it. Let's get it out there, because it's scary times, guys. It really is. There's no government out there for us. There's nothing that is coming to help us. And there's nobody coming out to save us. We are like watching the end of Ireland. There's no one coming after us. There is nobody coming up to save Ireland. You know, like, you're like as if you're waiting for the next Michael Collins. You are the next Michael Collins. You all are. Get up and vote and get out and do. Not My Taoiseach. Should have been loads of us all out there. Absolute disgrace that we weren't. And the yellow vestments should grow feet and absolutely, like the French, are having to really make an impact. It's time to stand up. We're living in the end of the days of our country, our beautiful, gorgeous country, and our culture, our beautiful culture, our stunning music, our own sports, our own language, our own way of life that has survived centuries. It's an ancient land with an ancient culture. And we have links right back to our past, through our storytelling, through our music, through our culture, through our words, through everything. We are a link to our past, and that has been destroyed. And I've seen lately advertisement, what's coming is better than what went, than what was before. And that's so not true. What's coming for Ireland is so not better than what went. What went was heroes and a love for our culture and a drive to get independence and sovereignty. What we're being told is this multicultural breakdown of everything Irish and nothing that will belong to anywhere or anything be left. It is culture Marxism, and it is scary days. People wake up and start fighting because you're watching the end. We are a sad generations left on this island who didn't fight. The only generation who didn't get up and fight for their country and their culture. And that's quite sad after 800 years of every generation getting up and fighting, making sure that their children knew their stories, that the hedge schools were around, that their language was kept alive, that their sports was kept alive, their music was kept alive, their dance was kept alive. Everything was kept until this generation. And the traitorous government, and it is fake media. It's worse than what Trump says. It's not fake. It's blatantly lying. It is almost like an Islamic. It's Taqiyya and Kitman. It's lying and hiding facts. And we're going to wake up. And there is not going to be a thing of such thing called Irish anymore, Irish people. It can mean anything. It certainly won't have anything to do with our culture, our history, or our past. There will be no links with these new Irish. And they will have no allegiance to our country. It will not even be a country. And they're talking about even the name going. Thank you again for listening on the Bonry Show. And again, if you need to talk about anything or you want to talk about anything, discuss, get in contact on Irish News, news@irishnews.net. Or get on here on the Bonry Show, bring up things and let's talk about it. Let's get talking. All right, you're listening to the Bonry Show.
You are listening to Irish News Radio at irishnews.net. Email news@irishnews.net.